Hello, and welcome back to Seeing Eye to Eye, a virtual reality podcast. Today I am joined by not Matt, but my friend Corey.
Hi there.
Corey, how you doing?
Not too bad. How about yourself?
Doing good. So Corey doesn't have a VR headset yet, but
Yet.
he might get one if I can talk him into it. So you did recently get a gaming PC, so you're on
Yes.
your way.
Yes.
So.
Yeah, I love it. I love it.
Um, we'll talk about that here in a second, but before we kind of give an update on what we've been doing this past week, I do want to get some housekeeping out of the way. The podcast that you're listening to right now is now up on all podcast services, including Stitcher, Spotify, Apple Podcasts, iHeartRadio, Amazon, Google, all of them, pretty much all of them, except for some very small ones that are still like kind of hung up in limbo right now. So the podcast is up. If you type in "Seeing Eye to Eye," a virtual reality podcast, it will pop up. And in some case, you could search Hats and Gloves VR as well. Um, Also, this week I published a review on the Bobo VR head strap for the Quest 2. I don't know why they named their company after a monkey. Um, but yeah, that's what it is. Here's the video. These are for like over. I'm in a green screen shirt with my green screen. This is more of a in-depth video where I really it's a long video. I'll just say it. It's nearly 20 minutes, so it's very lengthy, very in-depth look at this headset, which is one of the best battery headsets for the Quest. So if you're interested in a extending the battery life for your Oculus Quest 2, you might want to check this video out because I go into almost way too much detail. There are chapters here in the video if you want to scrub through and figure out what you're looking for. Like here, I'm showing off an external battery, um, which is another method. But this headset actually has a battery on it. I don't know if I can see it here. This footage. Yeah. Yes, there's a battery back here. So good stuff. Good headset. I'm gonna have more product reviews up soon. I have actually a nice little stack of accessories, including
Accessory.
like different hand straps for the Oculus Quest controllers, and some additional head straps as well. But as of yet, it's all Oculus Quest. There's no other headset stuff in this house.
Did the Quest come with straps? One that you have?
Yeah,
Yes.
yeah. I'm just gonna grab it right here. So uh, the Quest strap looks like this. So it's like a thong.
Yes, it's
That's
saying, sure.
I know. This is Alex. You grabbed the wrong thing. Hey, hey,
Yeah.
hey, hey.
Relax.
Yeah, it's even got some stretch to it, but it can feel like it's squeezing your head, which is not really what you want. But at the same time, if you adjust that strap just right, it can be not too bad. Um, that said, almost everybody that I've heard talk about it agrees that you got to get yourself an aftermarket headset for the Quest 2.
Well, the first when you first let me try out your VR headset.
Hmm.
Now that strap is what you had on that, correct?
The Bobo strap, yeah.
Okay.
So this one in the video is that one. So yeah, you've tried this out. What did you think about this head strap when I let you try it out?
Well,
I
I
mean,
really it was way better because that was I don't know the first.
I think yeah, you did try out the
Yeah,
thong
to the
strap.
original. Yeah, that I could not keep in focus. You know what I mean? And which really obviously
That's
takes
right.
away from the experience. You know, you
Yeah. That
so
reminds me. Sorry, go ahead.
but that was a big it was a big upgrade from at least from the from the stock uh strap that it came with.
Yeah.
Yeah,
I
hands
think
down.
because I forget, I need to actually put the original head strap back on just so to remind myself. But the big problem with that head strap is that the Quest would just sink a little bit, and it didn't feel like it was sinking, but it would get blurry. And then if you were
Yeah.
to, take your hands and move it up, it would get clear. So you had to really adjust that head strap and get it just right for your head for it to not sink. But also it would just shift around. Whereas this Bobo, uh, this is actually like a crown. They call this a crown style head strap. But this Bobo crown style, it applies pressure to your forehead, and then in a couple different areas it applies pressure. So it does a good job of structurally staying in focus.
4 points of contact.
Yeah. Yeah. I'm glad you brought that up because I forgot about that. Yeah, that was a nightmare. Just constantly grabbing the Quest, shifting it up.
I mean, it was a deal. I mean, we had to, even when I tried it out, I had to sit there and
Mm-hmm.
adjust. It really took away from, the hassle of getting in, just grabbing it and going.
Yeah. Okay, so that video is up. Um, yeah, I was kind of nervous about making this video, but you gotta crack some eggs. You gotta make some mistakes. My big takeaway from making this video is it's a little too long. Gotta speed it up. Okay, so before we get into that, let's quickly talk about what we've been playing. Corey, do you want to talk about what you've been playing, which will be non-VR stuff, which is fine.
Fortunately, not VR, but really, I've been spending a lot of time in Forza Horizon. Uh,
Nice.
yeah, I'm being a racer myself. I enjoy racing games. I love cars, and I felt like this is uh first racing game I actually look forward to playing on a daily basis because I've always been a Need for Speed fan. Grew up on those Hot Pursuit, Underground, and I just always get disappointed every time I feel like, oh, this is the one. I talk it up. This is the one, and it's not. And
Yeah.
I felt like this game really has that balance between arcade and simulator, and there's plenty to do even when you're not doing online stuff. There is plenty of content, and there's plenty of cars. It keeps you involved, keeps you interested, and, and you can customize, engine swap, anything. You could really spend a
Yeah,
lot of
you
time on it.
you can go casual or you can go more sim or hardcore racer.
And I like that. It's versatility. It gets everybody involved in all the different styles of racing. It's not just road racing and there's the Baja dirt racing and
Hmm. Hey,
you know,
speaking of Baja, um, Rec Room now has Baja Racing. So Rec Room is a
ooh,
VR social app, but it's like there's games. So it's like paintball arena, uh, table tennis, I think. But next time we're hanging out, I'll have to show you the Baja Racing because they just added it recently.
that'd be fun.
Um, I haven't really been playing that much VR because I've been putting a lot of work into this, which is getting the podcast distributed to all these channels and also making this video. A lot of like startup work is being done. Hopefully, after this week, you know, continuing with the videos and the distributing of podcasts will be much more easy to do. I have been hopping into VR chat. Um, or no, yeah, yeah. My brother and I hopped on VR chat, and he was his avatar was like a penguin in a tuxedo, and we went to this club called Club Orion, and his hands were just I think I told you this story, right? His hands were
Yeah,
just like
yeah.
stuck down at his sides. Um, Something was wrong with his controller tracking, so we were having a crazy time at the club. But yeah, I keep staying up too late talking to people at the club, and then it'll be late, and then I'll need to go to bed. So then I'll put the Quest away. I'll go to bed, but then I'll be laying in bed. And I'm like, I can't fall asleep. And then, I think, oh, you idiot. It's because you're sensory overload. You were just, because I have the headphones on. I'm there in the club. I was talking to this lizard person, like over in the corner, about NFTs for like an hour and a half. And every now and then I would look back at the dance floor and the dance floor, and there was like Woody the cowboy, just like dancing with glow sticks, and then it
These
was
people get
crazy.
wild.
Yeah, it was crazy. But yeah, don't go to the club and then try to go to bed. You can't. You can't do
No,
that.
the party life, man. You
Yeah.
know.
Yeah, I know I mean, I wasn't drinking and I wasn't, actually at a club, but my brain, you know, you know how it is with VR, kind of you get the feeling like you are there,
Yeah,
even though you're
for sure.
obviously not. Well, all right, so that's kind of been our last week. Um, we're going to cover some discussion ideas that I've had, and then we're going to get into some more current event stuff. So, first off, I want to talk about, will Sony make its own version of the Metaverse? Um, so, I think I had this idea while I was listening to Sacred Symbols, which is a PlayStation podcast, and they brought up PlayStation Home. Do you remember this? This was on PS3, and it was like a
Yep.
world where other people would go. And it was kind of ahead of its time, I guess. If you think about VR chat,
Yeah, I remember when I got. Yeah, cause yeah, 100%. I remember this when I first got my PlayStation
your PlayStation 3.
3. Yeah,
Yeah, this is
yeah,
a look. Even the little homes look like Quest homes,
yeah.
but this is where you would go do shenanigans before VR chat. And there's a lot of talk now about Sony competing with Meta, um, which is definitely going to happen, right? We don't,
Well, they're probably gonna have to. I mean, you really, it's
yeah. Well, so the thing is that the Quest 2 is substantially cheaper than, almost any other dedicated gaming PC headset, which is
right.
good. It's good because more consumers can buy it. Um, and then right next to that is probably what the PlayStation VR 2 is going to be. Um, of course, you might have to buy a PS5 as well,
Right.
which so
Yeah.
that's expensive.
Have- As I say, have they said whether that's going to run on its own
It's not
or?
going to run on its own.
Ooh,
Nope. This is the presentation that they gave at CES. Yeah, it's going to be wired to the PS5, which is a good and bad thing, but that's just the way it is.
right.
Um, but and we don't know the price of it, but it's probably going to be $400, give or take, maybe $500. Which again, I know that's a lot of money, but it's nowhere near as much as the other headsets. So it's competing with Quest, and so this brings up the question: is Sony going to also dabble with metaverse stuff? Um, Obviously, Facebook is taking off with this, and there's others like again, Rec Room is a really good game that is kind of like this, and then of course there's VR chat as well. I would say I don't know. I think I think they might do it. Sony is the company that might actually go back to this. I guess my real question is why exactly did PlayStation Home get shut down? Was it because of low users, or was it because it was too expensive to keep running? Because I would have to assume that Sony would have like moderators, trying their best to keep this a
Yeah,
decent
people are
place.
paying.
Yeah. So maybe there wasn't that many players playing, but Sony still had to pay for moderators and
Yeah, it probably became too expensive to keep going.
yeah. Do you think Sony would do something like this again, but with VR?
Uh, Man, they're really gonna have to. Like I said, they're gonna have to compete, man. It's the gaming world's changing,
Yeah.
and it's either, you know what I mean? It's either play ball or
Yeah.
go home, you
Well,
know?
something else I'm already starting to notice is that the so Meta's version, Facebook's version of social Metaverse stuff is called
Yeah.
Horizons.
So it has its own.
Yeah, like it's like its own VR chat, but instead it's Horizons. That's what it's called.
Okay.
Um, and it looks here's a video. So you have little avatars. It doesn't look this good, right? This is like a CG render. Um, but it's Facebook's version of the metaverse. And while it does have quite a few features, and because of the it's for several reasons, most people in it are like behaving decently well. That said, I've noticed that this isn't like the end all be all. Like a lot of people are still using VR chat and Rec Room and other things as well, right? Like Facebook's not taken over. So I think Sony could dip their toes into this
Right.
and it wouldn't have to blow up because I feel like lowercase m metaverse is the culmination of all these apps existing simultaneously, right? VR chat exists, Rec
Right.
Room exists, and I think there's enough room for Sony
Yeah.
and
Okay.
Facebook. And that's what I think a lot of people are hoping. They're hoping that there is no capital M trademark metaverse, which is what Facebook wants. They said that in their Connect presentation is that they want to like really control everything. But I don't think that's going to be an issue.
Yeah,
Okay.
I guess what I always consider with this stuff, being a console gamer for years,
Hmm.
you know, and just now buying a gaming PC, uh, you know, like you said, the Quest is not something I have to have the gaming PC for. So that's already a big plus and selling
Right.
point for that. Okay. But what's going to make me want to buy a PlayStation VR over,
Hmm.
the Quest or a PC? You know what I mean? That's kind of where my points on all this when I bought my gaming PC is I just been looking at that, spending that kind of money, I might as well go the PC route, you know. But what would make me want to go buy a console again and buy a PlayStation VR 2
Hmm.
headset, you know?
It would be exclusive games. So one of the things that Sony showed off at this presentation here is where is it? Horizon. So they're making a Horizon game, which I know we're using the word Horizon a lot here, but this is Sony's Horizon, so it's robot dinosaurs.
Oh, is that like that? What's that called? Horizon New Dawn,
Zero Dawn.
Zero Dawn. That's what it is. Okay.
And there's a sequel to that game coming out next month. But what we're looking at here is a new thing that is VR. VR Horizon. This is developed by Firesprite. So that might be your answer, right? To your question is why would I want PlayStation? Is exclusives like this. So Sony owns several like high fidelity looking games. Like what if there was a Last of Us experience?
Right.
What if there was an
Ooh.
Uncharted experience?
So okay. So there is a
Yeah.
lot of potential there for them to push for a good VR, you
Yeah.
know.
The other reason is this right here. these features, 4K HDR, which is, that's good. It's going to have an OLED screen too, which the Quest doesn't have. Foveated rendering, which basically foveated rendering means that it's only going to make the area that your eyeballs are focusing on, it's only going to make that area sharp,
Okay.
which is going to allow it to run everything much better. Kind of like how we were messing around with the Cyberpunk settings.
Yeah.
Foveated rendering is going to allow the PS5 to really crank up everything else. And then expanded field of view. So these features are why you might want a PlayStation VR 2. Um, the Quest works, right? It's a standalone
Right.
headset.
Right.
Um, you can use it with your PC, but it gets a little bit more complicated. I'd probably have to help you get that going. Um, I've had to help my dad and my brother with it. Um,
So they also have the Quest 2 then.
yeah, they have the Quest 2, and my dad has a gaming PC. So they have everything they need, but sometimes it doesn't work very well, and I'm going to have to go visit them again and work out the kinks. That said, another selling point for PlayStation VR 2 is that when you plug it into your PS5, it's going to just work, right?
Right.
Unlike me using my Quest 2 with my PC, with AirLink or virtual desktop, there's all sorts of know-how that you need to educate yourself about. The alternative to that is a PlayStation VR 2. You just plug it in and it works. And that
Plug and
was
play.
that was the sales pitch of the original PlayStation VR. And to its credit, it did work pretty well. Um, I mean, and again, the PlayStation VR 2. Let me see if I can find the picture of it here. Here's a commercial. But it was comfortable because it had that crown head strap. The tracking was bad with the controllers, but
Yeah. I
you
think I remember playing Elder Scrolls or what was it? Skyrim or yeah.
yeah, the tracking was not great. But one of the promises of this was you buy it, you take it home, you plug it in to your PlayStation, and it just works. And it did. So that's another answer to your question of why you would want this. Is this high fidelity, Sony's exclusive um, owned games, their exclusive IP, and then of course the plug and play ease of use. So we'll
I
see.
got you.
I think so. The first PlayStation VR was the most adopted headset among all of them until the
Really.
Quest 2. The Quest 2 blew it out of the water. Yeah,
Yeah,
yeah.
but
And
obviously it's a different. It's still it has a lot of differences. I hear you now. I hear see what you're saying.
yeah. And that's because the PlayStation 4 was being widely adopted, and so a lot of people kind of had a PS4 laying around, and then so that worked out well. Hopefully, Sony can like work on getting PS5s into households because they're still hard to find. Okay, let's move on. My next little idea that I wanted to talk about was what other retro games would we like to see get the Resident Evil 4 treatment? And so what I mean by Resident Evil 4 treatment is that the graphics still kind of look like the GameCube game. They're upresed, so they're not blurry, but like the textures, it still looks like the GameCube game. It doesn't look like it's not like Final Fantasy VII Remake, right? Where it's a complete facelift. But because they kept these kind of older, almost retro graphics, they were able to they're not concerned about performance, right? So this what we're seeing now. This runs natively on the Quest 2. It's actually a Quest 2 exclusive, so it's only on Quest 2. It runs well. I haven't played it. Matt's played it, and apparently it's really good. So they didn't just like copy and paste this game, right? They actually did controller mapping. They added reload animations, probably inventory management with touch controllers. And what I'm hearing is that they did a good job. You know, that this is a well done thing. So the question is, Corey, what other retro games? Now I'm talking like GameCube, PS2 era, and I can
Man,
already tell you that in the Meta Connect presentation that we got a couple months ago, they announced that they're going to be doing GTA San Andreas in this.
what?
Yeah,
No way.
yeah.
No way. Oh
So
man.
if it's yeah, if it gets the full treatment like they did here with the reloading and
Man. Can you
then
imagine walking down Grove Street in VR?
yeah, or even
Man.
driving. So Resident Evil 4, there's no driving.
What? I didn't even think about that.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? You know what I mean? Just now, just imagining that. That'd be that'd be intense. I really hope that is good.
Let's see. I have like a whole collection of GameCube games. So they could
GoldenEye though, dude.
Gold.
GoldenEye. I
Okay, well
mean,
that's an N64 game. Well, what about
I
Rogue
know,
Agent?
but he
Remember?
said that. Yeah, yeah. But
Yeah.
any of those old school shooters like that from when we were kids, like hands down. Time
Well,
Splitters would be cool,
Time
but
Splitters would be cool.
GoldenEye I think would be, you know, James Bond.
Yeah.
Uh, it just does it for me.
What else is there on my shelf that's not Nintendo first party?
Duke Nukem.
Duke Nukem, like Tony Hawk. At that
Yeah,
point, you could do
I gotta stop thinking shooters. I keep thinking
you could do
shooters,
like
maybe.
Tony Hawk Underground 1. I'm trying to without yanking my cord here. I'm trying to look. There's all sorts of stuff. But Resident Evil 4 was definitely a good pick.
You could just possibilities, man. Like really, the possibilities are.
Yeah, I feel like they're really hitting, now that I'm looking at my game collection, they're really hitting the nail on the head with San Andreas and
What if you
RE4.
what if you did like a could you like it man rock band in VR, you know, or Guitar Hero? Like you could be up
Yeah,
on the stage and do something fun like that. I don't
well,
know.
Rock Band already did something in VR and it died right
Oh
away.
really?
Yeah.
I didn't know that.
And then there is another game called Unplugged VR, which is like an air guitar game that
Huh.
has hand tracking, so you don't even need to be holding the controllers. You can just use your hands. And apparently it works pretty good. Okay, we're back. We had a little bit of technical difficulty. But yes, so there's Unplugged VR, which is kind of like Rock Band.
Whoa. Okay.
But I just thought of while I was looking over at my PS2 games, Metal Gear Solid 2, 3, that would be good. Now you'd have to get Konami to play ball um, with Quest. But
Not even.
okay,
Well,
what else is there? We know that Sony's going to be doing Gran Turismo. So,
Spider-Man, man. I mean,
oh, Spider-Man 2?
yeah,
Spider-Man
like
2 in VR?
phew. Yeah, imagine, you know, slinging web.
2 GameCube.
You know what I mean? And they could, yeah.
Let's just see here. Yeah. Imagine this in VR. Yeah,
It's
imagine this, but it gets the Resident Evil 2 um,
it,
treatment. Yeah, we should
not,
just
not
we
to make you sick. It's,
yeah, if you're watching this on YouTube, um let us know what you think should be given the Resident Evil 4 treatment, especially from the PS2 GameCube era. Leave it in a comment down below because I know there's a lot that we are just not thinking of. But Spider-Man 2 is definitely a good pull. Okay, did you have any thoughts on what the PlayStation VR 2 might cost? So the original debuted at 399, and I think it like had one pack-in game. I think it had Astro's Playroom as a pack-in game, but that barely counts. I think later
Right.
on in its life, the price dropped to like 299, and then even further like 199.
What's the Quest going for right now?
The Quest is going for 300.
299, right? 300. Yeah. Yeah, I mean, it wouldn't surprise me getting, 399, $500. Uh, you would like to think they would not ding it too bad, especially because I know, PlayStations aren't the cheapest things around either. But I mean, you're
Yeah, this is. I was talking to Matt about this because he thinks it's going to be expensive, and it may well be.
yeah,
But and I understand that there's a lot of technology in this headset, but at the same time, there really isn't that much technology in it. There's lenses, which are expensive, kind of, and there's displays. Displays cost money, and there's a lot of plastic, and there's a cord. The controllers cost money, but there's no chip. There's no processor, right? The Quest 2 has a chip in it. With the PlayStation VR, it runs off your PlayStation 5.
right. So yeah, it's the PlayStation's doing the work.
Yeah.
So yeah, it's like that's what I'm saying. I'm hoping that because of that, it won't be as nasty. But
Okay, we're back. We had a couple more technical difficulties. I think we are gonna have smooth sailing from here on out. Okay, so yeah, hopefully the PlayStation VR 2 costs $400. That would be good. I understand that Meta is subsidizing the cost of the Quest 2, but Sony should just subsidize the cost as well and compete. Okay, so my main rant that I want to have on this episode is what happens to the PlayStation VR 1. Um, so what do I mean by this? Well, unlike unlike an iPhone or a game console, which have a chip or a processor in them, things like the PlayStation VR headset, they still go obsolete like our phones, but not at the same rate. And here's an example. I have a gaming monitor, right? And I could sell that gaming monitor to you and I would sell it to you for cheaper than what I bought it because it's kind of obsolete. But it's still a really good gaming monitor, right? Same thing with my Bose headphones. I've owned these Bose headphones for years.
right, you've been a long time.
Yeah, and within those years, I've gone through like an iPhone, I've upgraded my Apple Watch, but I don't need to upgrade these Bose headphones because they're still really good headphones. Now, yes, there's slightly better headphones out now. So this is what I'm getting to here is that these VR headsets, yes, they go obsolete, but really at the end of the day, they're just a different type of monitor or
Right.
display, right? So if you have a decent TV, you kind of hope that it lasts for 10, 12 years. And unfortunately, I'm afraid that with PlayStation VR 1, it's going to just not work on PlayStation 5's version of VR, which is really unfortunate because more than anything, it's just a display. It's a display that you strap to your head. And I just
Well,
have a feeling, and especially because of some of the business decisions that Sony has been making recently, that you're just going to have to buy a new headset. Even if you own, even if you've spent $400 on their last headset, you're going to have to buy their new headset.
I mean, it wouldn't be unheard of. I mean, there's other companies that have done similar things. Phasing, Apple's done it with some of their old equipment. I mean, going to the Lightning charger. Eliminating.
That's a good point. Yeah.
It's sometimes it's the cost of, it's the cost of business, I guess. Yeah. But like VR PSVR one's not that old. That's but I mean, is it going to be compatible? Is it going to be a thing that they can use at all? I mean,
So
I'm sure
so
it
we don't
won't.
know. we don't know, right? Like this whole rant that I'm doing might be a nothing burger because maybe Sony will come out and say, and if you want, you can use your PlayStation VR 1, which would be awesome.
Right. You know what I mean? They may be limited, or as far as quality or what they can and can't do,
Well,
but
the big thing that would be limiting them would be tracking, right? Because the PlayStation VR
right.
1 had those color ball controllers, the Move controllers. Do you remember that? PlayStation
Yeah.
VR, you'd have
Yeah,
like
yeah, yeah.
the light up ball. That was just a poor method for controller tracking. Um, that was not good. And so that might be the reasoning, is they might say, "Oh yeah, we can't do it because the tracking is not good,"
Yeah.
which is true,
Yeah.
which is true. But the display itself is still pretty decent, and it's one of the most comfortable headsets to wear. Again, because of the crown
Yeah.
forehead
They did have a
support.
good design.
Yeah. So we'll see. Um, let's see. What else do I have written here? PS4. Oh, okay. So vice versa, right? So here's another question: Is will the PlayStation VR 2, this headset, will it work with old PlayStation VR games? This, I think, is a yes.
And,
Um, sorry, go ahead.
I would hope at this point of the game with everybody, people obviously want to play older games as well. They have held their value. People want to keep playing them, and do we really want to have the people complaining, customers complaining again and again and again because hey, we want these games, we want these be able to play these games. It's taken a while to, and now it's a little bit better, but for
Yeah.
a long time, across
Yeah.
playing old stuff on newer consoles and stuff has always been an issue. You would hope that they would kind of steer away from that going forward. You
Yeah,
know,
you would hope, but like if say for example they've already decided that this PlayStation VR 2 is compatible with all the old games. Ideally, uh what's this guy's name? Mark Ryan? Is that his name? Ryan something? Mark Ryan. This guy, this president of PlayStation. Ideally he would say it'll be compatible with over 100, titles already, blah blah blah.
yeah.
Um, but he doesn't say that. Jack Ryan, that's his name. Is that right, Jack Ryan? It's gonna bug
Nah,
me.
I'm not sure that's. I feel like that's like a movie.
Yeah. Uh, something Ryan. CEO Jim Ryan. Oh wow. So they haven't said yet, but I think that it will be. I think you'll be able to play your old games.
Jack
Jack
Ryan,
Ryan, yeah, Jack Ryan's
Tom
PlayStation.
Clancy, Tom Clancy
Um,
book, dude. With a John Krasinski plays
yeah.
Jack Ryan.
Here is PlayStation VR 2. Um, next thing I wanted to know on was again going back to, hey Sony, why can't we use our old headsets to play these new PS5 VR experiences? And one question is, was the PSVR 1 ever maxed out? And what I mean by that is, I think it could do 90 frames per second. So was it ever like maxed out? Was it ever running 90 frames per second and also like maxing out the resolution? Because I can tell you right now, especially on a base PS4, more often than not, the visuals that you were seeing in VR were soft. They were blurry. And
Yeah, that's like my biggest takeaway from playing the Skyrim VR on the PlayStation was definitely the blurriness.
mhm. Yeah, the PS4 Pro helped, but my question is, was that headset ever pushed to its potential? And maybe in simpler games it was, but that's kind of unfortunate, especially from a PC gamer perspective, where on the PC side, if like the HTC Vive, that's an OG headset. That's like a 6, 7 year old headset. Don't quote me on that. And it's definitely there's better versions out now. But if you own an original, like if you own an original Oculus Rift or an original Vive, you can still plug it into your updated expensive PC rig and really squeeze out more performance out of the headset. So, yeah. So, was PSVR 1 ever maxed out? Uh, Probably not. Um,
Yeah, I mean, yeah, I'm gonna say probably not. Like you said, they probably spent their
yeah.
90 frames per second on the simpler games. I just don't feel like a lot of time and effort was spent past when it come out. You know what I mean? Like high development. Or am
Well,
I wrong? Am
I
I wrong?
I think you might be wrong. See, this is something that's hard for you and I to
It's-
answer because we VR is like a different paradigm. Um, but I do want to say that they have been pushing out, not Sony, but like other game makers have been pushing out VR titles on PlayStation 4 for a while now.
Yeah, this is where I get in trouble because I don't, you know what I mean? Not being new to this uh,
Yeah, I'm new to this
side of this.
too, and I haven't had a PlayStation VR in years, so we can't really speak to how current it is. I think it's been slowing down a lot though. But my last, well, no, yeah, my last two comments are: will we ever be able to plug in the PSVR 1 or 2 into a PC? And I think that this is a huge question. And again, I understand that there's an ecosystem. Like Apple has their ecosystem, Nintendo has their ecosystem, and Sony has their ecosystem. But, VR is still trying to like take off. Like if it's an airplane, it's these are turbulent times. Right now it's good because the Quest 2 is doing so hot. But as of yet, Sony has not allowed people to plug their PlayStation VR headsets into PC. And they probably could. They could probably make that work, but you can't. So we'll see.
I,
Maybe for the first couple years, PlayStation VR 2 will be PS5 only. And then, after a while, Sony will say, okay, well, we're going to have some PC functionality.
Come out with an adapter. Well, no, I mean you could do
You
Bluetooth really anymore.
you wouldn't need an adapter because the PlayStation VR 2 is going to use one cable, and it's just USB-C. That's it.
Oh, okay.
One cable. So you wouldn't need an adapter
No, he wouldn't.
unless your computer doesn't have a Type C port. That would be really cool because I don't know if I'm going to buy a PS5 because I have a gaming PC. And I know there's exclusive stuff on PS5 like Horizon, but man, I don't know. Okay, let's see here. Let's move on to our news stories. So the first news story is this. So unlike a lot of other VR content creators, we are not going to cover that much CES stuff. Just because most most of the stuff shown off at CES never makes it to market. Do you know what CES is, Corey?
I do not.
It's the Consumer Electronics Show or something like that. And it's where they show off a lot of new tech that doesn't exist yet.
Okay.
And quite honestly, a lot of it won't. We do have one news story coming up from CES, but a lot of stuff I'm just not talking about because every other VR content creator is talking about it. But what I do have here is this Taste the TV. Japan invents lickable screen
Of
to
course.
imitate food flavors. And so what we're looking at here on The Guardian is some sort of uh, o- obelisk with some sort of weird circular dark sphere. Looks like a Darth Vader droid.
Yeah,
And then
it does. It usually does.
there's like a screen, maybe a touch screen, and then there's a woman who is bent over and licking, not licking, but like just touching the screen.
Caressing it with their tongue.
Yeah. Okay, so let me read this. A Japanese professor has developed a prototype lickable TV screen that can imitate food flavors, another step towards creating a multisensory viewing experience. The device, called Taste the TV or TTTV, uses a carousel of 10 flavor canisters that spray in combination to create the taste of a particular food.
Yes,
Ah.
the future is now.
The goal is to make it possible for people to have the experience of something like eating at a restaurant on the other side of the world, even while staying at home.
Huh.
I don't know. I think this is ridiculous.
It's
Um,
a little out there.
yeah, first off, this thing is not going to be in your home,
No,
right?
everybody is going to be down at the restaurant or wherever, you know what I mean, at the
Yeah.
public place, and then everybody's going to be looking at it. It's going to be really weird.
Well, okay, somewhere in here it says that it has hygienic paper, like transparent paper that like it refreshes this paper. Like it has a roll of hygienic paper, and so after each use, it completely, you know,
Like in the
cl-
bathroom when like with the toilet, like when you dry your hands on them cloth and you just roll it back. Like I haven't seen one of those in years because I don't think
no,
they're
I
very sanitary.
I don't even know what you're talking about. It's the flavor sample then rolls on hygienic film over a flat TV screen for the viewer to try. It's like when you go to the doctor's office and
Mhm.
there's like that little bench that you're supposed to sit on, and the doctor or the nurse like rolls this paper out
Yeah.
over it, and so you're sitting on paper.
But you never seen one of those hand dryers like in a bathroom?
No.
No, it's like a cloth. I mean, I haven't seen one of those since I was a kid, but they're like cloth, towel, and it
D-
like circulates and I'm not quite sure exactly how that. I think it just
Is
must
there
wring it out.
is
It's
there a
not
clothes
quite.
dryer on the other side?
No, that's what I'm saying. It's really odd. I'm not really. They're really old. It's
Huh.
not very sanitary, but that's 100% what that reminds me of.
Um. People interact with the outside world. In a COVID-19 era, this kind of technology can enhance the way people connect and interact with the outside world. I don't know, man. F Concerning the experience of something like eating at a restaurant on the other side of the world, I mean, there's a business for this already. It's called restaurants. And sometimes what entrepreneurs do when they want to make a restaurant is they make a restaurant from like a Chinese restaurant or a Mexican restaurant.
Yeah, food that's not normally available in
Yeah,
this area.
this is a pretty common. Like I just don't know. There was a smell-o-vision device at CES this year, and that's another one where it's like I don't know. I don't know if
They got
any of
Willy
us
Wonka
are really going to be
opening up.
doing that. Yeah, like Willy Wonka.
Willy Wonka's hired hired in. He's got the he's got the controls, man.
Well, in a Willy Wonka fictional universe, you wouldn't have this huge device. It would be something cooler. And I just don't see that happening anytime soon.
No,
Okay, let's move on.
silly.
Um, Apple's AR headset will not be made for long-term use. Users will not be able to escape to a metaverse like the virtual world. So this comes from WCCFtech.com. And what we're looking at is like a render of what the Apple Glass or the Apple VR might look like. We still don't know. But this was an important article. This came out January 10th, and this is big news. Let me read. Yeah, I need to read some of this because this is important. When we first learned that Apple was reportedly aiming for a lightweight AR headset that would be no heavier than 150 grams, We thought it was to prevent wearers from experiencing fatigue. A new report takes a deeper dive into how the company is placing limitations on the upcoming device, implying that its weight could have been a deliberate move to prevent users from seeking an escape to a virtual world.
I mean,
Okay, so let me continue. I need to read a little bit more here because this is really interesting. Sources close to the matter have informed Bloomberg's Mark Gurman that Apple has thought about the metaverse but is looking to avoid it. In his Power Hour newsletter, the idea of a virtual world where AR headset owners can escape to in the same manner as Meta platforms from Facebook is off limits. Instead of being used for countless periods, Apple reportedly wants the AR headset to be used in short bursts, though the time limit was not mentioned here. Previously, Apple's CEO Tim Cook spoke about how concerned he was over the fact that the company's devices were being used for endless scrolling instead of being utilized in a creative manner. In short, sorry, users were inhibiting their productivity and health, which could be one reason why the AR headset may have limitations in place that will prevent it from being used for hours on end. To summarize, we pretty much know now that Apple's wearable glasses are going to have time limits on them, or, or at least it's going to encourage you to use it as time limits. And that it's because Apple does not like this idea of just being jacked in. In fact, they literally, I love this. I freaking love this that Tim Cook spoke about how concerned he was over the fact that the company's devices were being, quote, used for endless scrolling instead of, quote, being utilized in a creative manner. Corey, do you remember like Steve Jobs era,
yeah.
right? Like
Oh,
when the iPad was first shown off? Do you remember when you got your first MacBook?
oh yeah.
And do you remember like what the vibe was back then
I mean,
with
that
the
was the new
iPad? It
speed.
was all like creativity, like make
Oh,
something. You like here's the tools. Here's these awesome tools. Now do something.
but yeah, I didn't even have a Facebook when I got my Apple laptop, man. I mean, I got it specifically for music and music recording software and games,
Yeah.
of course. But you know,
Yeah, Apple's a different company than Facebook or what else? Twitter or TikTok. Facebook and Twitter and TikTok, they make money off of our attention. That's that's literally their main goal. Their algorithms that determine what you see next when you scroll have one job, and that is to keep your attention. Apple's a different company, man, and it's becoming more obvious. And there's a couple other news stories that have happened in the past couple years. Apple is a different company. In fact, Apple has made moves to protect users' privacy. So, for example, if you're surfing the web on Safari on your iOS device, ad companies cannot track your web usage if you're using Safari because Apple has blocked it. Did you know that?
no.
This was a big deal. So, not this most recent iOS update, but a couple updates ago, that was one of their features is that they were going to block ad tracking. And do you know who was really ticked off about this? Facebook. Facebook was really upset about this because Facebook makes money by serving ads and by serving ads well, right? That's face again. This is Facebook's like you got one job. Build an algorithm that keeps people's attention, keep them keep them pulled in and keep their attention, and then serve them ads that pertain to them. Do that and you make money, Facebook. So when Apple put in a feature to block ad tracking, Facebook was not happy. So this is a very interesting news story. Um, here's my takeaway. When I hear that this thing is lightweight because it's meant to be used in short bursts, you know what device I think of? The
The
the Apple Watch.
Apple Watch.
Yeah, the Apple Watch is lightweight. It is useful, but it's only really meant to be used in short bursts. And yeah, you can, screw around on your Apple Watch for hours on end if you want to, but you really can't get far, right? Like you can't watch a YouTube video on your Apple Watch. In fact, you can't even type on the Apple Watch except for the newest, largest Apple Watch you can type. But you're almost encouraged to not really, be on this all the time, right? You can't scroll through TikTok on your Apple Watch.
Mm.
So, as much as I like VR gaming and I like the Quest 2 and other headsets and I like that idea and I'm excited about it. This is very interesting.
I mean, how reliable is the source on this? Is curious.
Um th- this Mark Gurman fella from Bloomberg would be the one to answer that question because its source is close to him.
Yeah, I think yeah,
But
it's interesting because it's like I
this
don't
isn't
know.
the only website that I've seen cover this. I think this is a pretty strong rumor. Could be wrong. There's a lot of details that could be wrong. But I mean, just this that previously
Oh no, I'm
Tim
not. I'm
Cook
I'm
spoke about.
I'm I'm curious. I mean, because like Apple, Apple still does support Facebook and stuff as of now. You know what I mean, and TikTok and their apps and stuff. I would like to think that they wouldn't limit you. You know what I mean? I mean, as a consumer, I don't want my time necessarily limited. You know what I mean? I mean, I want to like be able to use my product the way I'd like to use it. But yet again,
Yeah,
it may not be designed that way though. Like you said, but is Apple going to be missing the mark by limiting it too much? You know what I mean?
perhaps. Yeah.
That's you know what I
Well,
mean?
they're going for a more sleek, lightweight. They're probably going for like a fashion. Like these are going to be glasses that you wear in public and you don't look like a doofus like Google Glass. And they're not going to like slap your hand if you try to use Instagram on your glasses. Instead, it's probably going to be like the watch where that functionality is just going to not be talked about or
It's gonna encourage
referenced.
you to use it in other ways.
Right. So it's going to deliver you your notifications. It's going to remind you things. It's going to give you directions on GPS like your watch does. But you're not going to really have the opportunity to just, you know,
Get lost in it.
be on your watch. Yeah.
I mean, it has the potential to be a whole different animal, really.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it's almost like it would be a counterpart to a Quest or to a VR headset. You got your VR headset for when you want to escape, and then for when you want to be present, when you want to be walking down the street in real life or at work or at the grocery store. For those times, you have Apple glasses.
Yeah,
I
like
think
ideally, I'd say
I
it's
think that's what
pushing
we're
it,
that's what we're talking
making
about
virtual
here. Yeah,
reality and bridging virtual reality and reality, just like
yeah.
actually making
That's.
it
Do you know what the
bigger.
term AR is? Augmented reality.
Yeah.
Do you know what that means?
Mm.
Okay. So I don't think this is a bad thing. Um,
Oh, I
not
guess it does.
not
It does say AR headset. I'm sorry. Um,
well. It is confusing right now because we've been getting rumors about both an AR and a VR headset from Apple. It's kind of murky. Um, do you have any more thoughts about this? Something else I wanted to know about is that Apple, I think, was the first. company to have this screen time app, where you can see your screen time
Yeah.
on your
Yeah.
phone, which they don't make you look at that. They don't make you sign a waiver, but they let you know, hey, in the settings, if you want, you can see how much screen time you've been using. And I think that their motivation for doing that is obvious because they talk about it in their keynotes is that they are concerned about people like heavily habitually being on their phone. I went for a run a couple hours ago after work, and it was getting dark out, and there was a guy walking towards his car, and I usually try to like if somebody is willing to like say hi or wave, I'll wave to them, but so I kind of just kind of looked up to see is he gonna whatever, but instead he was on his phone just walking just like through the parking lot all the way to his phone. And I had to kind of like juke and like run, like give him a wide berth. So instead of like saying hi to me, and it's not that he was being a jerk, but he was just, and it was like an older guy. He was just like on his
Oh yeah.
phone, just all the way up to his car door, opens the car handle or the door handle, gets in his car. And
They have such a big problem with that at work.
it, it's fine. I'm sure he was being safe enough to not get hit by a car, but
Gosh. I don't know, man. Like I was saying to you earlier, I mean, I operate heavy machinery and stuff sometimes, and man, I tell you what, people do not. They're extremely ignorant. Or they're so focused on their phones and stuff that they just don't look. They'll step right out into traffic, man. When I'm driving by them,
yeah. Well,
and
I
it and
this
it's
is
you have to be on on your toes with it sometimes. It's crazy because some people just really do not get out of that
yeah.
zoned in.
I think Apple, I mean, even though Steve Jobs isn't around anymore, I feel like they're not just looking right in front of their faces. They're trying to see out in advance what their decision making causes. Whereas other companies like TikTok, they got one goal, dude, and that is to keep you on their platform. Um, and it's really good. I mean, I've spent very little to no time on TikTok, but what I have noticed is that it's very good at drawing and maintaining your attention.
Yes.
Which, I mean, I'm not even saying that's a bad thing. I'm just saying it's definitely a thing. Okay,
Yeah.
let's move on. This next story is the one CES um, product that I wanted to cover, and this is UnLink VR. Free space optical communication for high-end VR experience and more. So for the audio listeners, what we're looking at here is UnLink VR's website, and pretty much what this product is it's a way to make any high-end wired headset wireless.
What?
Yes, and there's been a
Look at that.
couple of
Hold on.
solutions.
Go back
Yeah,
up.
yeah, we got to take a look at
Yes.
this.
Now that is what I call a detailed drawing.
Yeah. So now what we're looking at is kind of the
Man,
method of how this works.
is that dude's hair or is it a hat?
No, no, it's a hat. There's a sensor. So there's a sensor
Oh,
here.
looks like he's got a light bulb on his head. Just go.
Yeah. It's using lasers to beam information into
Okay.
the person's headset. So it's not using a radio or a router, which is what I'm using right now with the Quest 2. Instead, it's using infrared light. And so you have a laser pointer up here in the corner of the room, for example, and it follows your head. There's a video of this. Let me see where this guy is playing VR, and as he's playing VR, this laser is just aimed at his head the whole time. I don't think we get to see it in this video. No. I saw it in a YouTuber's video. So let me see here. I thought I had. Oh yeah, I have another link for this. Give me just a second. Okay, so yeah, instead of wireless radio transmission, it's using like a laser light, like a cat pointer. Um, yeah, okay, so here we go. Here's the picture. This, I don't know. This is our solution,
A lot.
problem, wires limit movement.
That's a lot.
Yeah, this can't be right because this guy's wired. Oh, I see. They're trying to show like how pain in the butt it is to go wired and to feel like you're free.
Really free. Yeah.
Yeah. So their solution, I don't know, their solution is kind of messed up too. Um, so the good news is that it is lossless quality, full 4K, no compression, no latency, 40 times the speed of Wi-Fi, can support future bandwidth demand. And that's true. So basically what we're talking about here is like fiber optics.
In a
Um,
room instead of actually through
yeah,
fiber.
right. So yeah, instead of this red light being traveling through a medium of wire, have you ever seen the inside of fiber optics?
I
It,
mean, pictures of it, and not
it's
necessarily.
yeah, it's like a a transparent wire, and light
Yeah.
travels through it, and it's very fast, right? So because it
Right.
can do all sorts of signals, and so this is doing the same thing, except it's like a cat pointer pointing at your head. They have multiple points of contact in case one gets occluded, right? So it's low latency and it's full 4K. Yeah, until you block the laser because you're swinging your arms, and then the signal gets completely cut off. So I don't know. Why? What do you think about this, Corey?
It's a little much. I mean, but I don't. I know. I'd like to see it. I mean, I'm not saying that they're not onto something. I know. I could see something like this being uh, used in maybe a bigger setting. Honestly, like multiple players in a one game. I don't know how you
Yeah,
would even do
maybe.
that. You know what I mean? But like, I could see this. I just feel like it would be a lot for a little room.
The
I don't
thing
know.
is
Maybe it's
that
not.
this laser shooter in the video that I saw, it must have been tracking this guy's head because it kept shooting the laser exactly like on the target.
Hmm.
So as long as it does its job correctly and hits the mark, then you get a video feed. But if for whatever reason it doesn't hit the mark,
Yeah. I
then
mean,
you lose signal.
that's something I'd like to, obviously see in use and experience firsthand because I feel like it's something, I don't know. It's
Yeah.
just,
Well, in that way, it reminds me a lot
mind-blowing.
of wireless video game controllers. So Corey and I, we're used to like this, which is what we're looking at here is a GameCube Wavebird controller, which was one of the first like first party consumer grade wireless radio game controllers. And it was cool because it was low latency. Do you know why this was really cool, Corey? It was cool because you didn't need a direct line of sight to the console. So if we look up here to the Sega Genesis, you see this little box.
Mhm.
So before the GameCube Wavebird, this is how it worked. It was like a TV remote. It was IR.
Okay.
That's what all these are. In fact, if you look at these right now, we're looking at retro advertisements for retro games. If you look closely, you'll see that they're bragging about the IR. And yeah, one of the great things about IR is that it was zero latency. It's very quick. And the GameCube controller did a good job as well. But I mean, some controllers, including the DualShock 4, have had problems with latency.
Right.
So
Yeah. Yeah, I can't imagine that being as smooth as they, you know what I mean? They act like there should be zero hiccups. And I just have a
yeah,
hard time, believing that. Like I said, I'd like to see it.
the latency thing is the most exciting because again, something like the DualShock 4 could have a little bit of latency because it's it's radio,
Hmm.
it's Bluetooth. Whereas, believe it or not, these old school solutions were like instantaneous, but you had to have a line of sight, which was not great. Here's another one. This is for the NES, and so you're seeing like these, like this is like a TV remote where there's a little IR thing, and just like with the real TV remote, you have to have real line of sight. So it's pros and cons.
Was it like the Duck Hunt game? Did that work off infrared, the gun, or not?
No, so I think the NES Zapper had some sort of camera in the gun, and every time you pulled the trigger, the screen would flash white, and there'd be a couple of black dots.
Okay. Huh.
Yeah, that game works really well, by the way.
It's a good game. It's a fun game.
Okay, let's move on. So these are news stories that Matt has compiled. He's not able to join us tonight, but this next one is if I can close this. Hitman 3 confirmed for PC VR this month. And let's see, it's been almost a year since IO Interactive launched Hitman 3 across multiple platforms. With virtual reality support exclusive to PlayStation VR, that's going to change next week as part of Hitman 3's Year 2 update, with PC VR support rolling out over a bunch of immersive improvements. So this is an example of a game that was PlayStation VR exclusive and now it's not, which is good, but this is kind of the same thing we've been experiencing with console gaming where a game comes out and it's exclusive on one console, but then later it's not. So after a year of PlayStation VR owners having all the fun in Hitman 3 PC, players will finally get to go literally hands on.
That'd be a fun game to play in VR. Not gonna lie.
Yeah, get the pun hands on.
Yeah, I haven't played three yet, but I've always been a fan. I think
I
it's a
haven't
challenge.
I haven't played 3 either. I've played 2, but I know a lot of people liked 3. Um, and I don't know that much about the VR version. But what I do know is that this is very interesting. One of the problems that VR in general has had is that a lot of companies like Oculus or Valve, well, not so much Valve, but companies have been trying to make things exclusive because they want their thing to sell. But because headsets are still not widely adopted, that's just slowing down the adoption rate for the technology. So this is
Right.
good, right? This is good
Yeah.
that exclusive things are getting passed around.
Yeah, I'd like to spend some time in that game for sure.
Our last story deals with the same exact topic: Warhammer 40K Battle Sister coming to Steam VR soon. And Matt writes here, this was an Oculus exclusive, which makes me think more Oculus exclusives will be coming to Steam in the future. So again, we have another example. This is from uploadvr.com. This is another example of things being timed exclusives. The game recently popped up on the Steam listings with a March 8th release date. Pixel Toys also confirmed this date with Upload VR. You could already play Battle Sister on Oculus Rift and Quest, but this marks the game's first appearance on non-Meta headsets. I'm trying to
Oh,
remember this game. What is this game?
well, I know what I know of Warhammer is back when we were in school, we played the people play Yu-Gi-Oh and Pokemon and stuff. Them guys
Uh-huh.
would go to the stores. I always call them the Dungeon and Dragon stores, but it's like a Dungeon and
Yeah.
Dragon game. But you paint the figurines, and there's game books and stuff that go with them. It's a role-playing game. You know what I mean? Uh, I always thought it'd be fun to play, but they have different factions and races and stuff. I didn't know they had a
This looks
game
pretty
like
cool.
that. Yeah, it does look pretty cool. I guess I recognize some of the little characters here.
Yeah.
I might have to check this out.
Yeah, these dang Warhammer games just keep cropping up left and right. There's
Well, I
s-
believe, don't quote me on this. I think Henry Cavill, he plays, uh, you know,
Oh, yeah,
yeah,
he's a total
he's a,
PC gamer.
yeah, well, he plays, I'm pretty sure he does the actual figurines and stuff. I'm pretty sure he's a Warhammer
Mhm.
game player, like big time. Uh, so I give him some props, man, because
Yeah.
that's some hardcore stuff there.
I think we're looking at Quest gameplay because the graphics don't look that great. Um,
No, I'm
but
surprised. Well, I
that's
mean,
for a Quest game, it looks good.
well, I don't know. I just know who makes this because
It's Pixel Toys. So somebody we've never really heard of.
yeah, I can't, I'm actually kind of impressed with the graphics because I would figure they wouldn't have a big developer behind them. It's not a big mainstream
Oh,
thing.
I don't know, Corey. Some of these new Warhammer games are like out of this. They're
Oh,
like
really?
really good.
Yeah,
Let me
I'm
see.
again,
New
I'm behind the eight ball on this stuff.
Warhammer.
Been out of the loop for a while.
Um,
Oh wow,
God, there's just so many of
damn
them.
it!
There's just
Oh
so
yeah,
many. I can't.
I gotta
I
stop
can't with
talking.
these.
This is
But some of
that
the
does nothing. Uh,
is this one? There's just some really. I don't know. I can't.
huh?
I can't. Like, where do you jump in?
For real? I might have to look into some of that. I didn't realize. Yeah,
Yeah, or not.
you know me, man. I like that kind of stuff.
Well, if it goes on sale, there was
Because
one Warhammer game that it was kind of like Doom. Warhammer game like Doom. Matt was showing it to me one time. Chaos Bane, Necromunda, Hired Gun,
Necromunda.
40K Doom. Accept all cookies. Oh, and the ad block. Huh. I don't know. All right. Well, I think that's all we got for this show. Um, do you have any other thoughts or comments to say?
Well, thanks for uh, having me. And
Yeah, well, thanks for joining me. This way I'm not just talking to myself, which for sure I will have to do a podcast by myself every now and then, which is totally fine. But yeah, thanks for listening or watching. If you've made it this far in the video, consider giving us a like. And yeah, I'm still really new at this, so every subscription really helps. So consider subscribing on YouTube or on your favorite podcast host. Um, but I think that's all we got. All right, man. Let's uh let's get on out of here. Thanks for watching, and we'll see you guys in the next episode.